Hello. So it's time for me to come on here and talk about my palette of the week, or palettes of the week, because I started with one. Why did they have to do all that? I started with one and ended up pulling in like 3 or 4 other ones. So we're going to talk about that. And the stuff that's on my face, it's kind of the usual. The only newer The only new addition is the Milk Hydrogrip Primer. I finished the Urban Decay All-Nighter Primer. I'm excited about that. I'm going to do like a mini kind of empties video. And foundation, I am sticking with my Nars Soft Matte Foundation. I go between the shades Manaus and New Caledonia. Still working on my Nars Creamy Radiant Creamy Concealer in Amande. I set my under eyes today with the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder in yellow. Then I used a bit of the Too Faced Peach Perfect and Caramelized Peach to set all over, I think. I'm trying to remember. And I also went over everything in terms of setting everything with my Gucci powder in the shade 12. And then I'll tell you about the eye look as one of my palettes. And the lip is Juvia's Place lipstick in the shade, what shade is that? Me. Another cool thing, I hit pan on my Makeup by Mario eye prep and set. So ooh, look at that, there's some pan. I'm excited about it. Okay, so let me tell you about the eyeshadows. First palette I used this week is the Nabla Side by Side palette. And this is one that I think I've used before a couple times, but I was actually really sort of inspired to use it because it's a larger palette. And one of you on here talked about having a harder time with larger palettes, like trying to figure out what goes with what looks to create. And so I thought I would share how I typically look at things or do things. Now here's this palette, right? I've been using it. So the ways in which I look at a palette, I will try to figure out a look by kind of breaking the palette down. So either I will go all the way across, or I will go all the way down, or I will do quads, or even sometimes trios. So that is a way that you can really start thinking about the shades or looks that you want to do. And you can kind of determine, like, are these gonna go together or not? So here, like, I used, like I said, this first row, the first day of the week, and I pretty much used the mattes as per usual. I had the shimmer all over the lid, and I used this other shimmer to sort of highlight. So I thought I would just share how I tend to look at palettes, because it's just sometimes when you have a larger palette, if it's not like a quad or a 5-pan, it can be a bit overwhelming to try to figure out, like, what kind of looks do I put together. I really like this palette. Really enjoyed the look I did with the first row. The second day, I did a look with the second row, and I did not take a picture because I hated it, and I forgot to take a picture so that you could see why I hated it. I do like this palette, but I just feel like I was not feeling it this week for some reason. So once that happened, I went into my newest palette. Oh, today it became my not newest palette. I'll tell you about that in a second. I went back to the Zendo palette. And what did I use here? So I used Sense and Tranquil, and then I also used Mindful. So I only used 3 shades out of this palette on Tuesday after I had done, or on the second day of the week after I had done the look that I didn't like. And with this, you can also see what I was talking about in terms of separating or breaking the palette down into like groups. So I pretty much stuck with this quad, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look at them, you can really start to see how that kind of works in terms of coming up with looks. Let me grab this. So if you look at the palette, you could go with this quad 1, 2, 3, 4. You could go with this one 1, 2, 3, 4. You could go with this 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4. And if you are not someone who wants to do like complex looks with like 3 or 4 shades, you can also just do 2s. You know what I'm saying? Like you could do this shimmery shade all over the lid and then deepen it up with this one. You can do this shimmery shade and deepen it up with this one. So as you can see, like you can just kind of map it out and play around with colors. And I think, especially for Natasha Denona, I know that she often kind of curates her palette so that they are sort of in these spaces where they can be broken down. But I think you can do it for any palette, really. Okay, so then I was like, well, I've used that Natasha Denona before, like a week or so ago. So let me put that one down and pick up some other ones to use. So the first one that I used is the Viseart Petite Four palette in Chocolat. These are super cute and super tiny. I was like, I knew Viseart shadows were tiny, were small, but this is teeny, okay? I got it on sale, so I'm okay with that. But I used all 4 shades. I used the shimmer. I think I used this shimmer all over the lid, and then I used these colors to blend things out, and then I had this one on top. And I also had my Divine Rose highlighter. I had that in the inner corner. How about can I open it? Maybe, maybe not. I had this in the inner corner, and can I just tell you, okay. So I had this on, right? And I had the Danessa Myricks Dew Wet Balm in rose water, like underneath it. And then I put the highlighter on top. And so then I posted on Twitter and Instagram, and I was like, yay, Pat McGrath and Danessa Myricks making me look good. Why did Pat McGrath comment on my photo? I fell out. I was just like, that's it. I'm famous. Pat McGrath commented on my photo, okay? And I didn't have, I didn't know who to share it with because that's like a big deal, right? So I called my mom. I'm trying to explain to her who Pat McGrath is. And I'm like, so you know how I'm like into makeup and stuff? And so this one lady, it's a Black woman, like I'm trying to explain it to her. And I was like, she commented on my photo. My mom's like, what? I'm like, so there's this thing called social media and you can like put pictures of yourself on it. And my mom was like, oh, that's so great. Like, what now? And I was like, I don't know. I guess that was it, Mom. Thanks. Anyway. So yeah, I've been just like, I'm famous, obviously. Anyway, so today I did a look with another Viseart Petite Four palette. And this is the Lilas. And here is this one. They're like cool tone purpley shades. And so I put both of the shimmers on the, or actually I started with the mattes and just blended that out all over my whole eye. And then I put the shimmers on top over the lid. And I actually did smudge or do a liner with the Juvia's Place Violets palette that just fell on the floor. So excuse me. So I used this shade here just as an eyeliner on the top and then on the bottom lash line. Okay, I think that is all. So my favorite palette this week that I used was definitely the Viseart Chocolat palette. I just really liked the shimmers on this. And it was like a warm kind of springy summer kind of look, and everything just blended really, really well. And I just really like the colors because these are just my kind of colors. Like, I love bronzy kind of colors and browns, and it was just like perfect. I was like feeling myself, and you can't tell me nothing now that Pat Mcgrath left me a message on my Twitter. Now I am gonna keep all of these palettes, and I'm also going to give the Nabla Side by Side another chance because I have used it before and I have liked it. You know, like, just sometimes you just are not inspired by certain palettes or whatever, and like, that sometime was this week for me. Now, upcoming, I finally got one of my Pat Mcgrath blushes, and I said I wasn't going to buy any of them, and I bought 2, and I'm okay with it. And here is the first one. Oh shoot. Oh, and so a lot of her like smaller eyeshadow palettes, like the quads, you just like pop it up, but this has like a little, you have to like push the thing. Can you see that? Yeah. And I'm struggling. Girl, you would have thought that you need like a code to get in or something. But look at this. Come on. What's this one called? Paradise Venus. So this is one of the deeper ones that I saw. I was going to get one of the more like pinky ones. I think it was like Electron something or other. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with this because I feel like this is gonna look really good on my skin tone and it's a color that I like. So I got that. And then the other one will be here tomorrow. I'm like, which one was it? I don't even know. And then I also bought the Eyeshadow Quad, and this one is called Voyeuristic Vixen. And it's really pretty. It's a very neutral quad. You can see that there. So I'm really excited to play with this. I really like, of course, this color and that shimmer there. And oh snap, wait. Okay, so you see this, right? Like, it looks like pinky, but then look right there. You see how it looks gold? Dude, that's magic. I'm excited about it. Ooh, girl. Pat Mcgrath. Like, love her. Okay, so that is it. How about you let me know what palettes or palette you use this week, and if you used any of these that I tried out, let me know what you think. Hope this was helpful.